true work begins.
This is the story of Diablo 4's Prologue Part 2 and the sick truth behind Lilith's blood. After aiding the townsfolk of Nevesk by clearing the demon-infested Icehowl ruins, we're unexpectedly drugged by the villagers, dragged away for the nefarious demonic rituals.
May the light preserve us.
Lost souls! All of you!
Head still spinning, we're waylaid by villagers and forced to defend ourselves. Taking the leather doublet of the former innkeeper Tovri's corpse, we're stunned to think we were nudging Devmir out of the way of the fire just hours before. We do not loiter in the barn and pass under the hanging bodies of fallen victims and out its rickety doors to be met by Stannis, who attempts to shank our flank. We're then hit by a bolt from Vanis's bow before we can respond in kind.
You are blessed like us now.
That was all of them. Light willing.
Wounded and disoriented, we take a look at our savior for the first time. Between the unrelenting flecks of snow, recognizing him, we exclaim, "You're the madman from the shed."
Madman? Those heretics drugged me after I returned from the ruins. Just like you. I came to my wits and escaped. Tried to get inside the chapel, but it was locked and... What manner of evil is this? Petals? Of blood? They must have fed them to me. A blasphemous ritual. How did they learn this? Perhaps the answer lies in the chapel. They kept it locked up for a reason. The key might be on that woman who was leading them.
Wasting no time and hungry for answers, we check Vanis's corpse to indeed find the key to their no doubt profane place of worship. Opening the double doors to the west, we stumble out and the quest, A Hero's Reward, is concluded, and we receive 430 XP and 200 gold for our troubles. Following the monk south, we find the Inn of Nevesk is deserted with no signs of life, save the fire Devmir had previously coveted. Heading further south following the road, we find the church is still well lit.
Only fire can cleanse the darkness in this place. Have a look inside, but hurry. I will prepare the torch.
We move to check inside, but have a moment of angst realizing we know little of this monk and are not wanting to walk into a second trap. And so we turn to him and ask, "What were you doing in Nevesk?"
Looking for the town priest. He stopped sending tithes, and I came to find out why. As I neared the village, I sensed darkness around the ruins. I went to investigate. Found the priest's body. Demons. Foolishly, I took shelter in Nevesk and ate their food. You know the rest.
Poor priest. As we head inside the church, we see a now familiar sight and question aloud.
Blood petals, like the ones I was fed. Is this real?
The symbol written in blood swirls with an obscure energy, and as we kneel closer, we're suddenly gripped involuntarily in a dark vision.
Shameful. Our Father has granted you a path to salvation. And yet, you stray from it at every opportunity. You drink and gamble You covet and steal. Shameful.
Sin is their birthright. My children. The lords of hell are coming to devour our world. Salvation lies not in the light, but in you. The faith has taught you to deny your heart's desire and turned you into a prisoner within yourself. Break the chains and discover who you were meant to be. Break the chains and be beautiful in sin.
Resist! Resist her temptation! Vani, it's me. I brought your child into this world.
Go to the dry steps and continue your preparations. Now, our true work begins.
You came to thank the light.
Dazed and half frozen in the snow, we see the chapel already burning and ask Iosef, how did I get out here?
You collapsed inside. I thought the darkness had swallowed you. I dragged you here and put this cursed place to the torch. What happened to you in there?
I saw a vision. A horned demon. She said the lords of hell are coming. She wanted to help the people survive.
Help them?
She called them her children. And they welcomed her like a mother.
Mother? No. It cannot be.
I must report to the cathedral.
Listen, there is a hermit to the northeast. A man of questionable loyalty, but he knows of the forbidden. He might be useful to us.
Bring him to the cathedral in Kiovashad, and you will be in the light's favor.
You seem shaken by this revelation. Who is this mother?
Do not call her that. It is a demon, Lilith. The Gospel says that she will walk among the people, posing as the Mother of Sanctuary. If she is here, it is humankind's own sin that has brought her.
If it's our sin that summoned her, then who is this hermit that is somehow supposed to help?
He surrounds himself with dark knowledge. Tread carefully, and pray he has not fallen to Lilith as well.
Quest in search of answers then begins in earnest, and we journey through the eastern gate of town towards the hermit's cabin, feeling our way through the storm. Eerily, we discover an altar to this Lilith, already enshrined in an image in the snow that gives us some XP and is said to be a collectible with over 20 for us to discover across Sanctuary. It's not long before we pass Nevesk's graveyard and are assaulted by skeletons risen in Lilith's wake. Spiders then pour out of the cave in Boulder's Ridge, and we find there is no refuge from the weather as the giant arachnids look to feast on those foolish enough to seek shelter. Ducking under the mountain's partially collapsed shaft, we trudge through the storm north and find our way out of the eastern path is all but barred.
Road's blocked. Should clear up when the storm has passed.
And we see a local villager looking to escape was not so fortunate. Heading west, we pick up a trail of fresh footprints in the powder and see a large fire acting as a beacon of sorts in the storm under a great lone tree. Examining the empty containers on the ground, we see they're an odd assortment of bottles. Some of them still reek of strong spirits. Heading to the homestead's entrance, we cautiously open the door and call out.
Is anyone here?
Searching the house for the hermit, we see inside the fire with a kettle boiling and think, ugh. Whatever is brewing smells awful. On the far side of the room is a mortar and pestle, a healer's tools, and they look freshly used. And behind us a shelf full of jars containing herbs, mushrooms, organs. Not for cooking, thankfully. To our left, we then spy a robust collection of books on a shelf, and we wonder aloud.
What are you hiding back here?
Touching what appears to be a triune symbol activates a hidden switch. Inside, the hermit's bedroom belies a grisly scene. It looks as if he'd been performing experiments on demons, and we notice under a full suit of foreign armor, his notes on a specimen by his bed.
Short fangs, young, freshly turned, an easy kill. Further south than the others. They're spreading.
We then begin to examine the strange skull and lose track of time. But with our back turned to the only exit, don't notice who approaches.
If you're going to trespass into my home, rifle through my things, then at least have the decency to join me for supper. I'm bloody hungry.
That's quite the story.
I wish it wasn't true, but it is. Why did I have that vision?
Thank those friendly villagers. They gave you the blood of Lilith.
The blood of a demon.
Not just any demon. The daughter of hatred. The mother of sanctuary. She was banished ages ago. But this world is her creation. It was prophesied she would come back.
What does she want?
That's the question. Sanctuary has always been trapped amid the eternal conflict. A war between angels and demons. But Lilith serves neither side. She has her own plans for us.
And me? Am I corrupted?
Not sure yet. But you two share a connection. What will you do about it?
Use it. find out what she's after.
Good. Then we're in this together. Rest while you can. Then we'll start in Iosef. If we can't stop Lilith, we'll all be damned.
Our quest in search of answers is then complete. Making our way outside, we see the skies have somewhat cleared since our stay at the Nar residence. And as we head to the Eastern Pass, we're met by a contingent of demons, and Lilith remarks.
Or this close to the city. Lilith's evil is spreading.
Felling feral fallen, their bodies soon litter the snowy banks, and we see the way forward to Iosef is now clear of obstruction. To the northeast, we then begin to clear a small shrine of the fallen that are milling about.
Never thought I'd live to see all this.
And see a broken statue of an angelic being that was defaced on purpose by the demons. The inscription is badly marred by claw marks, but we can half make out its message. May the light of Father Inarius shine down upon all weary travellers of this holy land. Turn east or west, we can't tell which way, and face towards its radiance and find strength renewed. Perhaps it refers to Iosef. Confused, we ask Lilith, what is this statue?
The angel Inarius. I'm sure you've heard the Cathedral of Light babbling about their Holy Father. Well, he's real. An angel walks among us. And when he learns that Lilith is here, blood will flow. They are ancient enemies. They'll drag the whole damn world into their feud unless we can stop it. Let's not linger. Iosef lies just ahead.
We soon come across the symbols of Inarius' Church of Light at Iosef's western gatehouse to the city. Entering, we see heavily armed knights and a gate guard blocking our path who commands.
Hold. To enter the city, you must
We
first...
have no time for this.
Turning to Lilith with a sinking feeling, we ask, what's this about?
To enter Iosef, you must perform a cleansing ritual. It's a meaningless gesture, but some people take comfort in it.
How dare you!
Just let him through, lad. I've tried for years to get Lilith to do the ritual.
Fine, but this one stays.
I'll meet you inside.
Take a piece of holy cedar wood from the shrine and inscribe it with the sin which troubles you. Then, cast it into the brazier. As the fire burns the wood, so too will the light burn away your sin.
With little choice, we begin the ritual, finding the holy cedar tablets up the stairs in which we have the supreme privilege of selecting our own aforementioned sin and wasting time.
Yeah.
It should be noted we could inscribe nothing but scribbles into the wood and say,
This is a waste of time.
Did you say something?
Interestingly, later we will learn that Lilith can react to our choices. We then approach the guard again and explain. It is done.
Good. You must feel as though a great weight has been lifted from you. Welcome to Iosef.
With our rite of passage complete, we then enter the large drawbridge to Iosef, noting the insignia of the church bearing a striking resemblance to the Zakarum sigil of old, but they worshipped Akarat, not this angel. Once inside the gates, we see a local close by, warming themselves by a fire pit. Approaching them, they shoo.
Find somewhere else to get warm. I was here first.
We then head up the western path and find Lilith at the stables, who questions based on what we wrote.
So, what did you write on a little piece of wood? I bet you didn't write anything at all. Wouldn't blame you. Well, it matters little, I suppose.
Wait, a horse? Are you going somewhere?
I'm off to the dry steppes in search of that pale man from your vision. I must know what part he plays in all this. But first, I need you to retrieve something of mine while I finish my negotiations. A merchant in the center of the city has it. Just tell him I sent you.
Before we do as he instructs, we ask, what were the villagers doing in those ruins?
Sacrificing. Summoning demons. Honing all the wonderful gifts that Lilith gave them.
It's hard to imagine not liking an angel. Tell me more of him.
The cathedral loves to go on about him. His imprisonment in hell, his valiant escape, his glorious return here, the world he created. But they never mention how being tortured in hell for a few millennia turned you into an ass.
And Inarius is going to fight this Lilith as her return was prophesied?
There was a prophecy, yes. It foretold the rise of the prime evils, the return of Lilith and Inarius, the doom of our world. Inarius adopted the prophecy for his own selfish purposes, put it in the Cathedral of Light's gospel, and made it seem like he would be the hero to save us.
This is a lot to digest, being caught in a maelstrom of fate with angels and demons alike and not even knowing who to trust. Mulling over our circumstances, we go to leave and overhear Lorath's sad state with his horse.
Sway back, cloudy eyes. This poor thing is practically crowbait.
With what you're paying, you're lucky she has 4 legs.
We can't help but wonder how this broken shell of a man, barely able to be held by his mangy steed, is revered in certain circles. We find in the center of the city, as Nar instructed, the local arms dealer. Surprised he sent us here versus the apothecary or booze merchant. We then tepidly explain to Osrin, the man behind the counter, Lorith sent me?
Ah, so the old man's finally decided to buy it back. Knowing him, he didn't mention coin, did he? If he wants his weapon, you will need to pay.
Seeing his inventory, we're impressed, not at paying 20 gold for the older gentleman, but the craftsmanship of this polearm. While clearly old, its ornate blade has been kept sharpened and polished as though it would be needed again at any moment after our transaction is concluded, Osrin reveals.
Wait. The old man sold me this too. He said he didn't need it anymore, but I think he'd want it back all the same. No charge.
We pick up the object, examining it. Somehow, we know we have seen it before and think, an old amulet of unique design. It shows wear from years of use, perhaps as a badge of office. Dutifully returning to Nar, we hand him his weapon and trinket, and a tad begrudgingly, knowing we won't be seeing that gold anytime soon. You know, I had to pay for your weapon.
Apologies.
He also gave me this amulet. What is it?
The mark of the Haradrim. An ancient order of scholars and mages, sworn to protect Sanctuary from demons. These days, we are few in number. There is another Haradrim, Donan. His breadth of knowledge about demons is equal only to his hubris.
Sounds like he could help us.
You should seek him out in Skosglen. But don't forget about the cathedral. They'll be expecting you, and they might prove to be useful allies too.
You're not coming with me?
I'm going to the Dry Steppes to find out who that pale man is. Join me when you can, just be careful. Your ties to Lilith, the visions you see, you are the key to finding her and stopping whatever she has planned. Sometimes, our paths in life are set to collide. We just don't know it. Whether it is by accident or fate's hand, there is nothing we can do about it. The wanderer lost in the storm, fed the blood of Lilith, saved by a lone monk. Different lives and incidents drawn together. By what? Destiny? Or some greater power pulling the strings? I did not know. at the time, I thought I had the chance to protect humanity from the daughter of hatred. The Wanderer's connection to her gave me hope. Imagine that.